This is insanity. Border Patrol Chief Greg Bovino is literally on trial in Chicago federal court for doing his job, removing violent criminals, while Brandon Johnson, who's allowed 400 murders, calls him a barbarian. Meanwhile, EBT riots are preparing to explode across America as a shutdown cuts food stamps, and CNN just admitted Democrats are choosing to starve American children. Mark Vargas is back with breaking coverage of this converging disaster. Mark, America is coming apart, and we have the border chief, Greg Bovino, appearing in federal court, facing harassment charges for removing violent criminals. Here's what he said to Fox News.
Immoral. So you're leading Operation Midway Blitz. Is this judge allowing you to continue to do your job up until 4 or 6 p.m. when you have to go sit with her? And what does that do to operations for you and your agents that you're leading?
First and foremost, those operations continue. They continue unabated. The temporary restraining order and the meetings with the judge and all the other accoutrements that comes with what her orders are that will have no effect on Operation Midway Blitz. The Border Patrol, ICE, and those allied law enforcement teams are legal, ethical, and moral, and we always have been. So we've never been in violation of any TRO, any law or regulation. We're going to go out there and we're going to accomplish the mission. We're closing in on 3,000 apprehensions as we speak. We're going to speed those apprehensions up, and now we're even going to go harder now, Harris. We go harder now, and I'm not worried about it at all.
He's not worried about it, but Brandon Johnson calling him a barbarian. Mark, who's the real criminal here?
Both Mayor Johnson and Governor Pritzker and the federal court system, this judge. I mean, who would have thought that in the United States of America that you'd have elected officials and a federal judge siding with illegals, lawbreakers? I mean, they're supposed to uphold the law, not support those that break the law. And we've seen a continued pattern. I mean, there's been no consequences for Governor Pritzker and Mayor Johnson to call on violence against federal ICE agents. Again, we've talked about this before, Gary. If you or I were to publicly call for violence against federal ICE agents or federal Secret Service agents or federal U.S. Marshals, we'd be locked up and thrown in jail in 0.03 seconds. But somehow Democratic politicians and can talk about this and nothing happens to them. It's the reason why we've seen an over 1,000% increase in assaults on federal ICE agents, because the rhetoric of these Democratic leaders is inciting violence.
Now, Mark, I'm going to get to some of Johnson and Pritzker's remarks in a moment. But as the shutdown cuts EBT benefits, we're seeing shocking videos of people actually preparing to riot and loot across America. This woman here actually bragged about stealing her Thanksgiving dinner. Listen to this.
Food stamps right before Thanksgiving. Trump cutting off food stamps right before Thanksgiving, bad and all. But my people ran out of stores. With the cart full, I bet it's going to be some turkey on my plate. Ham, mashed potatoes, greens, dressing. It's going to all be there. Don't worry about it. Trump cutting off
Mark,
food.
okay, these videos are everywhere. Is this what Democrat shutdown has unleashed?
Yeah, the Democrat shutdown, they want violence. The D for Democrat Party stands for destruction and death. Let's not forget that the Democrats are the ones that continue to keep this government shut down over one issue and one issue alone, providing free health care for illegal aliens. So money that could have been provided for this woman or other women, for their families, for their children, for maternal health, and predominantly Black communities that have a high infant mortality rate in like Chicago, that money is being pulled away so that $2.5 billion in Illinois, for example, can line the pockets and provide free healthcare for illegal aliens. Democrats want death. They want destruction. They want violence and anarchy on the streets. Gary, let me read this to you real quick. Look, these are Democratic members of Congress. I'll provide just a couple of these quotes. Democrat Whip Catherine Clark. Of course, there will be families that are going to suffer, but it is one of the few leverages that we have. Senator Chuck Schumer, every day gets better for us. Senator Bernie Sanders, lastly, if you reopen the government, we lose all of their leverage. So they're using 42 million Americans as leverage, as political leverage to keep the government shut down because the Republicans and President Donald Trump refuse to add funding in the U.S. budget to provide free health care for illegal aliens. This is all on purpose.
Now, Mark, even CNN is admitting the truth about Democrats starving children. I think when you lose CNN, you've lost the plot. Watch this explosive exchange between Representative Stansbury and CNN's anchor.
Solution. Should the Democratic senators from New Mexico, your home state, vote to open the government so that these SNAP funds are not at risk?
Let me be clear. The administration is choosing to starve American children with money that they already have appropriated.
I'm not applauding their tactics.
By the White House.
Well,
this is a choice by the White House.
This is also, Congresswoman, this is also a choice by Senate Democrats to not vote to open the government. Yes, it is. I understand why they're doing it. They're doing it because they want Medicaid funds restored. They're doing it because they want Obamacare premiums to be extended past the end of the year. I understand the reasoning.
Sir, let me just be clear. The money for contingency plans is sitting there. That is why the states are suing. The White House is withholding funds from
2 to 3
children
weeks worth
that
of SNAP
have
funds.
food.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it may not be a big deal to you, but let me
it is
tell
a big
you
deal
that
to
for
me.
the grandparents, for grandparents that literally are feeding their children,
my point is that it's a short-term solution.
In those accounts,
it's a short-term.
At the end of the day, people need to be able to feed their families, and Saturday is when those funds run out.
If you feel so strongly,
we are fighting
Congresswoman,
to get
why
that
not
funding.
ask the Senate Democrats from New Mexico to vote to open the government so that the SNAP funds...
Sir, I am here in the House of Representatives. It is shut down. I am fighting to get the government reopened. I am fighting to get funding put back into SNAP that is already existent, and I am fighting for the American people. I am here. But show me a single Republican that is here, not a single one is here, to make sure that Americans are fed on Saturday. That is why I am here.
Democratic Congresswoman Melanie Stansbury from New Mexico. Should the Democrats...
Okay, so there's another quote for you, Mark. And now you have CNN clearly pushing back on the narrative. I know families here in Illinois, they've already reached out to me and said, Gary, what can we do? I said, well, you need to get Tricky Dick Durbin. You need to get Tammy Duckworth. You need to put pressure on them to flip their vote. So what when you see this here with CNN now pushing back, what does this tell you?
I mean, the Democratic Party is imploding. Gary, I can show your viewers right here. This is a list of quotes of Democratic legislators that are praising the shutdown and calling it leverage. This is a good thing for us. Let's watch our polls go up. The Democrats never cared about these families that this Congresswoman's talking about, these children and young families. How do we know this? Because they've done nothing to secure our cities, major cities, Democratic-controlled cities. They don't care about families. They care about trying to score political points and, more importantly, appease the far left, like the George Soros types, the progressive liberals who have fallen so far off the reservation that they no longer align with the Democratic Party. That's who today's Democratic Party is. They're the Democratic Party of lawlessness, of death and destruction and crime, and they're using children and families as political leverage. President Trump has said, we'll talk, but Democrats have to come to the table. Democrats refuse to come to the table because they're too busy parading around on national television that this is a good thing for us.
Now let's take a look at Pritzker here. He just announced a commission to document ICE agents for future prosecutions. This is from your post at the Illinois Review. If you're not following them yet, guys, make sure you do. So here is his announcement.
Why collect videos, testimony, firsthand accounts of alleged abuses of federal agents?
Well, what we're seeing is that the protocols, the rules around being a federal agent, the laws are being contravened. They are attacking people on the ground, ICE, CBP. They're going after people just because they're brown or black. No one above them is holding them responsible. Greg Bovino, who is running the operation in Chicago, is not holding any of them accountable. So we're going to have to keep a record because these people need to be held accountable, and they will be when the Congress changes hands, when the presidency changes hands.
Why?
So, Mark, this is literally a purge list. What are they planning? Revenge?
More than a purge list, this is a hit list, and this endangers the lives of every federal agent who's there in Chicago to uphold the laws of the land. And what Pritzker is talking about is pretty simple. It's the weaponization of government using federal agencies and federal resources to target not just citizens, but to target federal agents for doing their job. This is exactly what they're accusing Donald Trump of doing when in fact it's not President Trump who's just enforcing existing laws. It's the Democrats that are using the weaponization of government. This is a play right out of the Obama-Biden playbook. It's remarkable. It endangers the lives of everyday people and it endangers the lives of these ICE officers. But Gary, what's interesting is, what about going after the people that are assaulting ICE agents? What about going after the people that are throwing rocks and bricks and swinging baseball bats and willfully trying to harm federal agents? Where are the law enforcement in going after those people? They're okay. It's the federal agents who they're targeting.
Now let's talk about something equally as insane. The Chicago mayor, Brandon Johnson, made an absolutely insane comparison. Listen to what he said, comparing the legal term illegal alien to slavery.
Was to describe, we don't have illegal aliens. I don't know if that's from some sort of sci-fi message that you wish have had. Well, listen, the legal term for my people were slaves. You want me to use that term too? So look, let's just get the language right. We're talking about undocumented individuals that are human beings. The last thing that I'm going to do is accept the type of racist, nasty language to describe human beings.
So he's allowing 400 murders while calling law enforcement terms racist. Mark, has Chicago leadership completely lost touch with reality?
They've completely lost touch with reality, and it's another reason why Brandon Johnson's poll ratings were at just 6%. He's proving it. What's racist is pulling funding for Black mothers in the south and west sides of Chicago and reallocating it towards free health care for illegal immigrants. That's why we see a high concentration of infant deaths in the south and west side. It's why Chicago has some of the highest infant mortality rates in the nation. These aren't white mothers. These aren't Hispanic mothers. These are Black mothers, the very constituents that Brandon Johnson supposedly represents and protects. He's just abandoned them for illegal aliens and has reallocated billions of dollars in resources for free healthcare. They've lost touch with reality, and it's why, Gary, I think we're going to see Chicago flip red. Everyday residents are sick and tired of their Democratic politicians coddling lawbreakers, coddling illegal aliens, coddling illegal criminals, while at the same time, everyday residents are trapped in poverty and poor healthcare systems.
Let's take a look at the Chicago Sun-Times. Their front page shows Bovino in court like a criminal while actual criminals run free. What message does this send to the people of Chicago and to law enforcement?
Well, that the city doesn't have your back if you're a law-abiding citizen, and that they've made a deliberate choice to protect lawbreakers. They've made a deliberate choice to embrace lawlessness, and it should scare every resident and visitor in Chicago, but not just in Illinois, but across the country, that elected officials whose number one priority is to protect the people, that they would side on lawlessness, and that our federal court system would side with lawlessness. We've reached a very dangerous time in America.
Final question. With border heroes on trial, EBT riots spreading, Democrats admitting that they're starving kids, is this the breaking point?
I certainly hope so. I do think it's the breaking point, and we're going to see that here in the next several days when 42 million Americans lose their SNAP benefits. We'll see this again as the ACA signing up for ACA, and you've got 24 million Americans who aren't going to get the government subsidies or tax breaks for their health insurance. And this is all because of the Democrats' unwillingness to support law-abiding citizens, and instead they're willing to shut down the government, applaud themselves, pat themselves on the back for shutting down the government, and go on national television applauding their move to shut down the government. Why? Because they've placed illegal aliens over everyday law-abiding citizens. It's a shame, and they're going to see the real pain at the polls during the midterm elections.
Mark, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Patriots, you just witnessed the collapse of Democrat-run America. They're prosecuting heroes like Commander Bovino, while cities prepare to burn from EBT riots. Brandon Johnson calls law enforcement barbarians while allowing 400 murders. Pritzker creates purge lists for ICE agents, and CNN admits that they are starving American children to protect illegals. This is what happens when you put America last. So share this everywhere. Make sure you visit IllinoisReview.com. They have the truth that they are hiding, and Mark is at the forefront of that fight. So we'll see you again.